Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Pmbc meeting for, what is it, January 27th. We're going to start the meeting off with a remembrance to Joe Calentru, who is our former chairman and committee member. Not too many, I'd say the majority of the committee members don't remember Joe, but certainly Rob and Steve Mark and Rich
I do.
Crowley and Brian Fors remember him fondly.
Maryland.
Oh, and
Yeah,
Marilyn,
I-
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
Joe's last project was he wanted to get that fire station done. And I
and
think we
he
could
was,
we bring him in on a bed to get him there to the meetings.
right.
yeah, I can still remember seeing him shuffle down the hallway on the second floor in town hall, going down to talk to the accounting people that were both glad to see him and glad to see him go. So just a great guy.
Yeah, he was.
He was a force. Passed away, what, about a week ago?
Oh, a week
January
ago.
13th, I think it was.
Yeah. So I had reached out to his son probably 3 weeks ago
January 18th.
on LinkedIn, and we connected, but he didn't tell me anything about his dad, and until I got word that he had passed, and then I sent condolences from the entire committee, and he said thanks very much. So he was dedicated to the township, and we really appreciate all of his efforts. So, Bob, did you want to say anything else, or Marilyn?
I like you said, Steve, he was a pleasure to work for. I mean, we had to add a few things to it when his mind slipped a little bit, but he was great to work with.
Yeah, he was.
But his mind didn't seem to slip when it came to history, and he would regale us with, maybe an hour and a half of history during our PMBC meeting, and we'd have about half an hour of business.
You could make a 5-minute topic last an hour.
Yeah.
Anyway, rest in peace, Joe.
Yes.
So the warrant, I think I'll try to bring up the warrant. Did everyone have a chance to look at the warrant? Let me see if I can. I just kind of lost something here. Screen sharing is paused. New share.
$35,082.00.
Would you like me to bring the screen down, Steve? Oh, you got it. Okay.
I got it.
Thank you.
Don't know how I did that, but the marvels of modern science. So the total amount for this warrant is $35,082, and it consists of 3, 4, 5, 6 invoices. The first is from Greenwood Industries in the amount of $3,325. This was for roof work at the DPW building. It was approved by Chris Stoddard.
Are we done with that project now, Steve?
That is closeout, yes. That's for that phase. I think that's phase 2. So that phase is closed out. The next invoice is for Gale Associates, who is the design consultant and construction administrator for that project, $805. The third invoice is for, let me see, Gale Associates again, for the same project. That's for the first one is the October invoice, and this one is for the September invoice. This one is for $650. The fourth invoice is for Vertex Companies. It's for the library for January, $26,350. The fifth invoice is for professional services, PSI. They are the testing laboratory for the library, $1,927. That's the November invoice. And the 6 invoices, again, for professional services in the amount of $2,025. And that's the December invoice. Any questions? So, oh, I see Rich Crowley has joined us. Hi, Rich.
Hi, Steve. I snuck in the back door when no one was looking.
You got out of the trunk of the car, I see.
Yeah, I'm no longer living in my car. I got a roof over my head now for a little while.
For a
Motion,
while.
Steve?
So, yeah, do I have a motion, roll call motion to approve?
I make a motion, we accept the warrant for $35,082.
I can second that.
All in favor?
Bob Rumley, yes.
Bartlett,
Rich Crowley, yes.
Mike Scaduto, yes.
Brian Pasquale, yes.
Tim Rossi, yes.
Steve Moore, yes. Thanks very much. And next up, we're going to invite Steve Mark to talk for the school committee, and I'm going to try to get that.
You want to approve the minutes first?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for? Let's see. We have 2 minutes to approve. One was for March 4th of 2020, and that was the last meeting that Daryl Baker, Bart Baker had attended. And you know, for those of you who were not members at that point, I think Bob and Rich and I can attest to the fact that these minutes are correct, and we would recommend that you vote to approve them. And then the second set of meeting minutes are for the last meeting on January 13th as corrected. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Rich Crowley moved.
Bob Rumley, second.
All in favor?
Bob Rumley, yes.
Rich Crowley, yes.
Mike Scaduto, yes.
Brian Pasquale, yes.
Bartlett votes yes on the January 13th. I wasn't there for the March meeting, so I can't vote on that.
Okay.
Tim
Yes.
Rossi, yes.
Steve Moore, yes. Motion is carried. Thanks very much. Now I'll invite Steve Mark to talk to the PMBC projects for the school department.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I think Steve's going to bring up the schedule, and we can work down through the list. Before I get going, Brian, I like the poster in the back, the snowboard poster.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, so the list that we submitted to the PMBC obviously was a list of suggested projects that the school department thinks are important to look at. Steve, are you going to bring that list up?
Oh, I thought I had. Let me do that. Not as smart as I thought I was. Let's see. Can you see that?
Nope.
Okay. Let's see. Share. New share.
There it is. You may want to zoom in a little bit so people can read it.
Sure. You're challenging my IT expertise here.
And then,
So, I want to be over on the other side, right?
yeah, if you scroll over to their PMBC side.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Again, so thank you. So I guess I'll just talk about the projects and you guys interrupt with questions if you want. I'm not sure how else you want to do this. So Shaker Lane School, again, this was started out as really a placeholder to start doing a facility study, facility review of the Shaker Lane School. We are in communication with the MSBA. We did submit last year during the open period where you could submit a statement of interest. The school department, with the approval of the school committee and the board of selectmen, did submit a statement of interest regarding the Shaker Lane School, asking and looking to partner with the MSBA for funding to either renovate or replace the Shaker Lane School. Yet, we do have a meeting with MSBA on February 4th. That'll be a Zoom meeting. The town manager and the assistant town manager and the superintendent and the chairman of the school committee and myself are involved in that meeting with MSBA to discuss the next steps. I think MSBA calls it a senior review. So it looks like they are looking to possibly partner with Littleton and possibly move forward on doing building studies and feasibility studies or whatever. Rich Crowley can probably speak a little bit better than I can on that process. But, so we do have that meeting coming up. So I realize the $45,000 does not cover the full cost of a full facility study, but it was a number we put out there just so we could start looking and have an architect come in, do some kind of a review, a study, something. So that's what that is. You want me to keep going, or are there questions on that?
You know, the only thing I would say on that, Steve, is that Rich Crowley has an extensive experience with MSBA. In fact, he and I met at a MSBA meeting, I don't know, 10 years ago, and that's how we became acquainted. But if you want to tap into his background, his knowledge, and his contacts, please feel free to do that.
Yeah. Rich and I talked last week. And like I said, we do have a meeting with MSBA coming up. And then at that point in time, depending on what happens at that meeting, we may have to get somebody from Pmbc involved to move that project forward. Whether the $45,000 is the right number or not, honestly, I have no idea. Again, I use that as a placeholder. So Pmbc can feel free to adjust that number up and down. You guys can have discussions on what you think the appropriate number is to start possibly moving that project forward.
Yeah. Steve, what time of day is that on the 4th?
I think it's, give me 1 second. It's at 1 o'clock.
Oh, 1 p.m.
February 4th.
I may be able to tune in on that if you wanted me there.
I will make that recommendation to the superintendent and the chairman of the school committee and the town administrator if you want me to.
Sure, because do you know who you're going to be talking to over there? Mary Piketty?
Catherine something, but I don't remember her name.
Oh, no kidding.
But it's not Catherine. It's not Catherine Craven. She was a director for a while. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's another Catherine over there that we have some emails back and forth from that we've been setting that up with. I can certainly send you that information and make the recommendation that you be invited to that meeting.
Okay.
You know,
I can't see why they wouldn't want you in that meeting, but I can't speak for the superintendent. So.
Right. At the very least, it would be beneficial for Rich to listen in even if he doesn't participate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give you.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a good idea, and I'll try to make that happen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So the second project down is the high school administrative wing, $800,000. So a little bit of history. If you remember a couple of years ago, actually probably 4 or 5 years ago now, we did spend, I think, $100,000 on fixing one part of that wing over the administrative area. That area had leaked for years and years and years. We finally got that under control. Now, this is to replace the rest of the roof. It's quite a significant area up there. It goes up and around the corner. It's over the hallway, the cafeteria, the kitchen. We have had our roofers up there about every 2 weeks fixing leaks, and we no sooner get one leak fixed and 2 leaks pop up. I've described this many times. It's like playing whack-a-mole with the leaks. That the roof is at end of life, 21 years old or older. The building was opened in 2001 or 2002, and I'm sure the roof was put on a year or two before that during the initial construction, so they could then finish the rest of the interior work. So that roof's probably at least 22 or 23 years old. It is end of life. It is a membrane roof that only has a 20-year life anyway. And that's where we're at. So this was kind of a best guess estimate. We did have our roofing company come in. They did some initial calculations as far as what they thought the estimate would be. So that's the number here. And then we added a little bit for if we had to hire architects or a project manager or something like that. I know it's not over $1 million, so you don't need a project manager, but it's a project that would have to be written up and spec'd out and go out to bid and all that kind of stuff. But that's kind of where we're at. And again, we have our roofer up there about every 2 weeks. We've been fortunate this year with not a lot of snow up there, so not a lot of snow and ice. So we've been fortunate, but we've also had some rain. So we get leaks and trash barrels under the lights and shut some lights off here and there. So it's becoming an issue where our recommendation is we look to replace the whole roof and not stop the patchwork fixes. We have patches on top of patches in some places. Any questions on the high school roof issue?
Have you looked at MSBA for some funding for that?
No, we have not. It's not really an emergency type thing with MSBA. It's the way I read the MSBA, not the core program. I forgot the name of the other program. They offer 2 programs. I don't think it would qualify under it, but we can certainly look at it, Rich.
Yeah, we talked to them because they, in the past, they were doing, periodically they would come out with envelope replacements.
Yeah, green repair projects.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So they might have something in the pipeline, and probably be worth a call to them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe the project you're talking about, sir, is an ARP project, an accelerated repair project for the summer.
Yes. And if you read the accelerated repair project parameters, which I haven't done in a couple of months, so I'm a little lack of it right now. But if I recall, if I read those parameters, I don't believe our project would qualify. But again, we can certainly look into it.
Okay.
Yep. Another high school.
Yeah, and one more thing, if you need any validation on the pricing of all of these, I can do that very easily.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's great.
Steve, Mike is a professional estimator,
Oh, okay.
so he can certainly give you any,
Yeah, I have unit pricing. If you can get me some information on some sizing for some of these items or some of the areas and whatnot, I can, and some type of spec information or general information, I could get you something that's accurate.
Yep. Certainly, we can certainly do that, and I can certainly pass on the estimate that I received from our roofer, and you can review that as well. So that's certainly something we can do. And again, Pmbc is better qualified to determine what the correct capital needs are for those projects. Again, I just tried, that's a recommendation. it might be 600, it might be $1 million. That was just kind of my recommendation at this point in time. So
Steve, let me just ask you a question at this point. You have presented this to both the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, and or the school department has. And
Yes.
So this is part of the CIP at this point?
As far as I know, yes, but I'm not sure exactly which projects they have or have not included. I know there's limited funds this year for capital projects, so I'm not sure where we stand in the queue as far as the left side of that page with school projects or the right side with PMBC projects. So maybe, I'm not sure how the PMBC works as far as PMBC making final recommendations to the town for capital lists. So
I think that ship has sailed, actually.
okay, so yes, we did present to, school committee has reviewed this list and approved it. And we presented a week or two ago, I don't recall exactly, to the joint Board of Selectmen Finance Committee
Right.
meeting. Yep.
Okay.
Next project down is the high school. These are two high school projects, so that the auxiliary gym and their weight room at the high school have rubber poured flooring. Is that right? No, the weight room has big, thick, heavy mats on it, weight room mats on it that it is designed for weight rooms. Both of those floors are in, I won't say dire need of being replaced, but they're starting to show age and wear and bubble and rip and tear and things like that. So we try to keep it glued down. We try to repair them, but it's getting to the point where we really can't repair it, and we need to pull up the flooring and make sure there's no underlying damage to the concrete floor. That is, there's no water seepage or anything. To make sure that's not the cause of the bubbling and things. And obviously, if you peel it up, then we have to replace it. So that's what that project is. Those projects are based off of actual estimates from a company. They're a state-approved contractor company, and that's a combination of doing both spaces.
Steve, if I'm not mistaken, the school was built in 2000? High school?
Well, it opened in 2001.
Yeah. So
Final construction was.
You got 20 years out of it.
Yep. Yep.
That's a tough floor.
Correct. And again, so, that building's 20 years old. So anything with a 20-year lifespan is coming up. And again, so that leads to the next project. The high school, again, it's a high school project. We call it RTAC number 1. It's their rooftop unit that services the library. So while we do a good job maintaining these, all of our units, we have our contract with a service company. They come in, they service them, regular maintenance 4 times a year. But I'll be honest, the service rep, the service technician from the contractor is in our buildings about 3 times a week, fixing one thing or the other in one of our buildings with HVAC issues. And so if there's an immediate problem with any of our units, they get serviced and fixed right away. This particular unit, we've actually replaced the compressor on that unit 3 times. We have another 4th compressor that's sitting in our storeroom at the high school that once the weather turns, we need to get a crane in there and replace that compressor yet a 4th time. We've had electricians, engineers, HVAC experts, and nobody can figure out why we keep going through compressors, but we are. But the rest of it is starting to show age and wear and tear. That's probably beyond the point where we need to keep dumping money into it. And again, it's 21 years old. It's end of lifespan. We need to start working and cycling through replacing some of these rooftop units that are at end of life. And this is the first one recommended from our service technician company. We're also working on a list and an order to start replacing them in a planned fashion instead of waiting for them to die completely. We think we need to start being proactive on replacing these units.
How many units are up there, Steve?
This is where a facilities manager could help us.
Yeah, when we did
Yeah, absolutely.
when we did the facilities plan a few years ago, did we do the schools as well, or was it just town buildings?
Yep, you did the schools.
I know we did all the schools. Yep.
You did the schools, and this unit was recommended to be replaced a couple of years ago.
Yep.
If I remember.
Yeah, so that's a good place to start. That document still exists someplace.
Yep, we have
Yeah.
it. I have it online. If people want to see it, I have it in a Google Drive. If people haven't seen it and they want to see that document, I can certainly share those documents with whoever wants to see them.
Yep.
Steve, how many units are up there?
Oh, golly, you're gonna, I'm not gonna be able to give you an exact answer.
I bet you got a dozen from what I've seen.
Yeah, at least 7 or 8 that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, then you get some split
That I
units,
don't
too.
remember. There's probably some on some lower roofs that I haven't crawled onto in a couple of years. So,
Yeah.
there's quite a few. Middle school is in good shape right now. Russell Street is in good shape right now. The high school is, other than Shaker Lane School, the high school is getting to be the oldest building. It's
Yeah.
21 years old. So,
Steve, have you had these similar issues with the compressor on other units, or is this
No.
the only?
no, just for some reason, this particular unit.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and again, we've had our electrician up there. We've had other service technicians from our contractor up there thinking, maybe somebody else would see something that our regular tech doesn't. We've had an HVAC engineer up there to look at it and discuss it, and we can't figure out why we keep going through compressors. We go through compressors, they seem to last about 4 years, which is way too short of a lifespan for a compressor. Now, to be clear, we're not paying for the compressor, the company is, but we still have to pay for the crane to get it up there,
Right.
which is $1,000 a day. So,
So is it catastrophic failure, or is it wear and tear? Is it just, do they just wear out?
yeah,
Or
they just wear out for some reason. We're not sure why. Yep.
Okay.
And to remind Pmbc, we've done projects through the Green Community Projects and through other capital projects we've installed frequency drives and all sorts of stuff. A lot of it for energy savings and efficiency.
Variable speed drives, yeah.
Right, but that also helps when you can put in a VFD drive, the motor's not running 24/7, and so it saves on the life of the motor and the compressor.
Right.
For some reason,
Yeah, and it ramps up
I don't have an
slower.
answer for this one. I really don't have an answer why we keep going through compressors and we can't figure it out. So, if anybody has any ideas, we're open to ideas. So, any other questions on that particular project?
Oh, that's, it sounds like you're right on top with these projects, Steve. It's amazing. You can keep track of all this and everything else you do.
High school lights, this is alumni field lights. So Chuck Coast reminded me when we presented at the Board of Selectmen that when they built the new alumni field, they slid the field down about 20 yards from the old field. And they tried to rebalance the lights. I forgot the name of the lighting company.
Well, there was a concerted, and Bob Romley will remember this vividly, I'm sure. There was a decision made not to center the lights on the field.
Correct.
Because of financial issues.
The money wasn't there to do it.
Yeah.
Correct. So what's happened is because the lights weren't recentered on the field, they've tried to rebalance the lights, but there's one of the end zones on the lights the field that I guess is barely passable as far as what's allowed for high school sports and lighting. I'm not sure the technical stuff, but this would, if I recall the proposal, this would install 2 additional light poles, lights, and then rebalance the rest of the lights so the field is evenly lit from end zone to end zone. And that's what this is. So that's kind of about all I know about it. So
That's all there is to say about it.
yeah. Russell Street School. If you remember years ago, we had a bunch of dirt in front of the Russell Street School. We had some trees. With the help of Pmbc funding, we installed pavers in front of the school. It's made a huge difference. Thank you very much. It's helped on the dirt. It's given kids a place to play under the trees. But there was one particular spot that had a tree in it. We took the tree out. We put pavers in there. And for some reason, it keeps compacting down, and it's concave, and it collects water. And in the wintertime, it becomes a big ice patch and skating pond. And it's probably about 12 feet around.
Oh, wow.
Probably about 10 or maybe 8 to 10 feet, something like that. But it's big enough where right now, I think it's about 5 or 6 inches deep, if I recall. So it becomes an issue. It collects water. It doesn't drain fast. In the wintertime, it becomes ice. So it becomes a slipping hazard for kids playing on the playground. And so we just need, I'm not sure what the issue is. Tear up the pavers, put in some fill, compact it down a little bit better, and then either hot top over it or additional pavers. I wouldn't mind hot top, but that's kind of a best guess on my part as far as what I think it would take to fix that. But it is something that we need to look at. It's not immediate. If it becomes a safety, we put cones around it. We keep the kids out of it. We keep salt and sand on it if we need to, so it doesn't become a slipping hazard. But it's just something that at some point in time will need to be addressed and fixed.
Is that something DPW could help us out with? I mean, it's such a small item.
Possibly. That would have to be a conversation with Chris Stoddard, and I certainly don't have the ability to task DPW workers to do it. So,
Understood.
Yeah.
Where is it, Steve? Is it where the gym is? Where the playground is?
No, it's near the playground. So when you drive up to Russell Street School, you drive around the bus where the kids drop off. And as soon as you go past the entrance of the school and start turning to the left, it's right there on the sidewalk in the playground right there.
Yeah, there's no reason why it should have settled so much, but it did.
And I'm not sure. I even had the contractor that did the work come back. I think he's come back twice to do it already. And the last time I called him, he said, Steve, I can't come back and fix it a third time. So, okay. So, that's,
well, okay. That's a good fix.
Yep. School central offices. This is, I think everybody knows where school central offices are. They're in the town hall building, above Council on Aging. We're on the 3rd floor. We have carpet up there. The carpet was replaced, I want to say 10 years ago, but I don't remember. I know it was after I started, and I've been there for almost 15 years. So it was sometime within the last 15 years it was replaced. But, the carpets hold dust and pollen and all sorts of stuff. We have some people up there that are kind of pollen sensitive. So we'd really like to pull up the carpet and put down either some VCT or some vinyl plank flooring or something cost effective. One, I think it helps the look, but also it will help with the health, air quality.
Sanitary.
We do have air purifiers running up there at this point in time that we purchased because of COVID. So those definitely help a little bit. But but I think long-term, we need to do something with that floor. And I know there's possibly long-term plans once the library is fixed, what happens to the other end of the building and the libraries, the current library space, and renovation. So, I mean, again, this is not something that's critical or absolutely necessary at this point in time. We just wanted to try to raise the awareness, and do it. If we can't do it next year or the year after, then, you know, in the upcoming future. So that's what that is. High school parking lot, again, this is on here more as a placeholder. I think this is really a DPW line item. We just want to find DPW and PMBC that the rest of the high school parking lot project that was started a couple of years ago, at some point in time needs to be finished. Again, it's not a dire emergency. It's not critical. It's not in immediate failure. There are some issues with the parking lot, and DPW has been very good about coming up and cold patching it or hot patching it, as the case may be, and taking care of that. But, you know, long-term parking lot needs to be repaved.
Yeah, I remember phase one. Chris Stard and I met out there with you and some of the other people. And between Chris and I, we thought it was a PMBC project, and it turned out it was a DPW project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, this is more just to keep it in the limelight, to keep it in the vision of town projects that we're recommending. So, and then the last line item on there is obviously $0. There is already from 2000, I think it's 2018. It's town meeting from May 2018. PMBC and the town had approved $20,000 to start replacing and fixing the Russell Street doors. When the Russell Street project was done, renovation was done, what was that, Rich? 10 years ago now? 12 years ago?
Russell Street.
Russell Street that's got to be 12 years, 10 or 12 years ago now.
Yeah, it was.
The building was renovated, but the interior classroom doors were never replaced. So they are original to the building. A lot of them are showing signs of deterioration. The door frames are breaking down. It's best determined, and we had both contractors in there, painters, and we were going to have all the doors repainted. And they said, Steve, to take down a door, strip it, including the door frame, strip it, repaint it, and reinstall it. You're better off long-term to just replace the doors. And so the $20,000, we initially had the $50,000 on the list from PMBC, and then Cindy Napoli and Representative Arciero were able to get the state to include a $50,000 line item for the Russell Street School for those doors. There's actually a check handing over ceremony, I believe, this Friday from Representative Arciero. So it sounds to me like the $50,000 is already done, and we get that money. So again, this is just so that PMBC is aware of what's going on. We'll combine the $50,000 with the $20,000 that's already approved under PMBC, and we will start replacing those doors. Hopefully this summer. I have a contractor who's on state approved list. He's a state approved vendor. He does a lot of, it's school services. Rich, you're probably familiar with them. They do a lot of school work.
What's the name?
School services or school specialty services or something like that.
Yeah.
They do a lot of work at a lot of schools. So they are lined up, ready to go. We just have to decide on the final doors. The colors, we're going to have them painted. We're going to have them factory painted, factory primed and factory painted. so that we don't then have to hire a contractor painter. They can get installed and they're done. We use the existing door hardware lock sets that we already have, because there's nothing wrong with those. So we don't have to spend money on those. And that's where we hope to be with this project.
So
Just the
Steve,
doors?
Just the doors and the casings.
so Steve, when are you going to find out from the Board of Selectmen which projects get approved?
Probably at the same time you do.
Okay.
Probably when the warrant article comes out, when the draft warrant article comes out.
Okay. So when we understand which one of these projects or which of these projects have been approved, we'll invite you back and we can talk about that further.
Absolutely. I'm welcome to, I'm happy to come back anytime you guys need me.
Well, thanks, Steve. Appreciate
Yep.
your presentation.
And you can see from the school side, we are looking at replacing phones and access systems and things like that on the school side. But I guess different conversations. So.
Yep. Okay. Well, appreciate your attendance and presentation.
No problem. Any other questions I can answer?
How are you holding up? I can't.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. So
it's amazing. Yeah.
Look, I think the schools are doing a good job. The teachers are working hard. The administrators are working hard. We're doing, the students are, the students are learning at home. They're figuring out how to work remotely. The teachers figured out how to work remotely, and they're doing a fantastic job. But it's a lot of work, and there's always a challenge every day. I think our facilities are in good shape. Well,
you're doing a good job. They're very lucky to have you overseeing all their facilities. You're doing a great job there too. Yeah,
thanks. It's a team effort. I have a good team that works with me. We have good contractors that we deal with. Bill Maher, our maintenance supervisor, does a lot of work and he's always busy. We have Fernando Fernandez, who is our lead custodian at the high school, but really has become our HVAC guy. He's taken on himself to learn our HVAC system. He actually gets in and writes code for our HVAC systems. So when we needed to adjust all of the fresh air being brought into the school because of COVID and the recommendations, he got in and did all that programming for us. So I have a really good team. I'm lucky to have these guys. And obviously we've had a lot of good support over the years from the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, and mostly Pmbc in a lot of these projects. So thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, Steve. We're kind of running up against the hour, so we need to move on.
Okay.
Thanks, Steve.
You guys know where to get me if you need me.
Thanks, Steve.
We got your number.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Next is library. Brian, do you have an update for us?
Yeah, I can provide one. Thanks for having me. At the library, and Steve, do you think I do have a couple pictures if you'd like me to, if you stopped sharing, I should be able to just show a couple quick pictures while I provide an update for you. Can that, you guys see that?
Yep.
In case anyone hasn't been able to get down onto the site. This was taken yesterday before the snow started flying, but we're starting to put our AVB up on the roof as it's been sheathed, and ongoing sheathing on the exterior of the building as well. We've temped in the bottom floor so that we can introduce some temporary heat as some of the mechanicals begin their rough-ins on the interior. Steve, myself, and Mark, we had a meeting with the general contractor last week to go over some cost to complete as well as some schedules. Things are looking very good. We're trending to be coming in slightly early at this time. So while we're looking at that coming in early, we're also gauging our contingencies and our budget to see whether or not we'll be able to add some provisions and things back into the contract. For example, we're going to put some provisions in for a future PV system. We're going to put some provisions. We're getting some pricing right now for provisions for an additional DC car charger in the parking lot, as well as possible provisions for other systems that need to go into the meeting room.
That's great.
And how about the that thing that the fire department and the police are looking for? What's that called?
The BDA, the
BDA.
bidirectional antenna. Yep.
Yeah.
So
The repeater, like,
Yeah.
correct. So we passed our initial test. By code, we need to be fully, the shell needs to be fully constructed. The fire department and Deputy Chief Clancy will be down on site, test the signal that we have down there. And at that point, we will be cleared to go without any further BDA system in the building. This would be around the back side of the building. Let's see if I can just find a good shot of this right here. Is kind of like the hallmark of the whole building. It's a small little triangular area where it will be kind of a raised platform with a quiet study area. And standing up here the past couple days, I think it's really going to provide a nice view and kind of like a homey feel overlooking the woods out back. So that's pretty much what we got for the library. Things are going well. I was out there this morning. I did meet with the neighbor, Mr. Carmichio, or I think Bob and Steve, you guys had met with him in 31 Shattuck.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Bob knows him from
John.
town. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. He seemed like a great guy. He had reached out to Joe Layden about some of his lighting concerns. And so I told him I'd take a look at the design just about parking lighting, as well as go through the landscaping plan, what they have for plantings there. If he did have an issue with some plantings about creating a barrier, obviously I would I'd bring that up to the committee here on whether or not we'd want to entertain possibly putting in some additional barriers if the plantings there aren't what he's expecting.
Yeah. Bob and I already talked to him about that. So appreciate
Okay, good.
appreciate you getting involved.
Did that tree get taken down, Brian?
Not yet.
Yes.
Oh, it did?
It did.
The big one?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So that was taken down yesterday.
Oh, no wonder I didn't realize it was down.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know until that morning of either. So I was a little taken off guard, but the neighbor was very accommodating. So
Yeah.
went well. Okay. Any questions about the library?
Nope. How about the police department?
Police department spoke with CBI today. They have completed their documents, and I will send them out to the committee for us to review. The routine at this point now is CBI will advertise that in the Central Register. So it will go into the Central Register on Thursday. I'll be getting the wage sheets to go into the bid documents at that point, and then they'll be advertised from there. We'll have a few weeks for contractors to assemble their bids so that we can still be reviewing them. If there's any changes or if there's any discrepancies that we can find, we can issue an addendum to those bid docs.
So
in
Brian,
phase one,
are you going to send that link out to everybody, or do you want me to do that?
I can send it. Maybe I can just send it to you and you can send it out in case I don't have everybody's email. I have probably 80% of everyone's, but.
Well, I have the link. Arno copied me on.
Oh, good. Oh, that'd be great then if you could do that.
I'll take care of that.
Sure. And as for phase one, we've reached out to the waterproofing company. We anticipate having an update on their mock-up and their material samples within the next couple weeks so that they are ready to go in that April 1st timeframe.
Okay. Anything else?
Not too much. We'll just continue. Hopefully we have a I know we're gonna get some cold weather by the end of this week, but hopefully, if that's all we have to deal with this winter, then relatively unscathed, and I think the project, especially the library, is gonna benefit from it.
Agreed. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Brian, quick question. Did you get a chance to contact the architects on that AV stuff that we have been talking and trying to work through?
Yep, we had our meeting today, and what I required from both the architect and the engineer is a lot of the provisions were taken out at bid time because they were a alternate, and what I'm asking them to do is to reissue that sketch to me as almost like a preliminary sketch for us to go through that, and then we can direct our changes from that sketch that they give us.
Does that cost us more if we have to make them change that versus having a conversation up front to say?
We're gonna have a cost change proposal regardless, because there are some provisions that are not added into this project at all. Part of the alternate number 2 was a sound system and the provisions, which were not carried at bid time. So in speaking with Mark, we're going to at least entertain getting a price to see what it's going to take for adding provisions. And then as for systems, we would work with Mark, and we would work with you or whoever the other appropriate department would be about going off the state bid list about, installing these systems.
Okay. I mean, if it comes back that the library doesn't have the funds to put an AV system in there, that's one thing. But we do and are planning funds, for instance, for what we need for broadcasting, which will be not what they are going to need for an AV system.
Yep.
So I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So at the very least, we would put in the infrastructure for it, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is Mark. We want to make sure the infrastructure goes in, and then whether or not we get the AV system or an assisted listening system will depend on the actual cost. But we want the provisions in so that we can add those later. We're looking at grants for assisted listening technology as well.
Okay. Anything else on library?
Brian, when do you feel that meeting would occur?
I asked Phil this morning to provide me that sketch and to provide me a time, because I haven't been able to get in touch with his sub-consultant.
Okay.
So I'll have an answer for you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else for library or police? Oh, thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
I think the next item on the list was the Houghton building. Rich, do you have any updates on that?
Not yet. The only thing that's outstanding on the Houghton building is actually a new item, the drainage. And I don't have any. I'm supposed to meet with them, the library people, and maybe Chris from DPW. I'm gonna try to meet over there and figure out what to do. So nothing this week, but maybe I'll have something next time we meet.
So to be clear, this is not a PMBC project, but it was brought to our attention by
Exactly.
by the historical commission either early this week or last week. We were made aware of it when we were doing the repairs on the interior of the building, but I think that the historical commission has the funds to do the work. Is that right, Rich?
That's my understanding. Yeah, that they have the funds out of their own budget to do the work. This is they put in a trench drain around two sides of the building. They need to do a third side and a corner that remain, and they're just getting too much moisture through the foundation wall into the basement. So on the two sides they put it on, they had success in drying out that side of the building. They just need it to extend it now.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's might involve a dry well, might involve hooking up to the drainage system in the street. So that's why Chris Stoddard is going to get we're gonna bring him in and take a look at it. So it may or may not be something that PMBC will take on, but I'm gonna at least go over there and help her figure it out.
Good. Okay, appreciate your help.
Yeah.
Rich. Time for member input. Anything, Bob Romley?
I'm all set, Steve.
Timlin,
I'm all set.
Mike,
I'm good, thanks.
Rich.
Same with me. I'm okay. You're doing a great job, Steve, keeping this group together and keeping this PMBC functioning. My hat goes off to you for all the work you do for the town. Thanks.
Well, that sounds like you're volunteering to be chairman next time.
Hey, well, I've been there. What we need is a new face to step up.
Brian, anything?
I'm all set. Thanks, Steve.
Bartlett?
I'm all set, thanks.
Okay, well, thanks everyone, and Brian Forrest, thanks for sitting in through this and everyone's participation. Appreciate it.
Great. Thank you, Steve. And thank you
Motion to
all.
adjourn?
Have a great night. Thank
Yep.
you.
May I have a roll call vote to close, please?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Bob Rumley, yes.
Hi.
Brian
Mike
Pasquale,
Scudery,
yes.
yes.
Timlin Rassius, yes.
Yeah, Rich Crowley, yes.
Steve Moore, yes. It's
Bartlett,
unanimous. Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
Steve.
Thank
Have a
you.
Okay,
Good week.
stay safe.